guys, so I just wanted to make a video today about the surgery that I had recently because a lot of people have been asking me questions about what type of surgery I had, what it was for, how it went, everything like that. So I figured it would be easier for me to make a video explaining the whole process in my experience rather than just messaging everybody back individually. So to start off with, anybody that knows me knows that I have had pain pretty much my entire life. It has affected me at work, it has affected me at school. I actually had to be taken out of public school in 7th grade and had to be homeschooled because I was missing so much school due to the pain that I was having. And doctors never really helped me. That was a whole frustrating big deal. I've never really gotten any help from doctors until recently. And so I've been seeing my gynecologist, and because my GI doctor told me that he wanted me to get checked for endometriosis because that's what he had suspected that I had. So endometriosis is uterine tissue that grows anywhere that it's not supposed to, and it can cause extreme pain. It can cause a lot of crazy stuff actually. It can cause migraines, it can cause you to feel tired, it can cause vitamin deficiencies, it can cause stomach cramps, like high blood pressure, everything. Just a whole bunch of stuff that's not good. And so after my GI told me that I should go to the gynecologist, I started seeing them, and they did a couple tests here and there, and they never really found anything. And endometriosis can only be diagnosed through laparoscopic surgery because they have to actually take the tissue out and test it to make sure that it's uterine tissue. And so they had told me that the next thing that I should do is have this surgery, which I was really nervous about because I had done research on it before and I had a feeling that that was coming, and I've never had a surgery like this before, so I was really nervous about it, and I knew that I was probably going to be out of work for a while and I was not going to be able to take care of myself, and I was worried it was going to be a big deal. So getting prepared for that, is definitely nervous. My mom actually ended up being able to come down to help me here in Orlando, Florida from Arizona, so that was good. I wouldn't have been able to do it probably without her. But so up to the surgery, I was scared. I was definitely very scared, and I knew that the day of the surgery it was not going to be fun. I get really anxious about a lot of things, and when I get anxious my stomach starts to hurt and it's just a whole ordeal. So anyway, the process of the surgery itself was actually really well. It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be, and the prep for it was pretty easy. The only thing really that they had me do was I had to buy this special kind of wash that I had to wash my stomach with because the surgery they cut you in your stomach. So I had to wash myself with that just like a couple of times a few days before the day of the actual surgery, and of course like the no eating for 24 hours that I had to do overnight. But other than that, that was really the only prep that I had to do for it. The day of the surgery was not fun. I got dropped off at the hospital by myself, and I was there by myself because my boyfriend was picking up my mom from the airport, and her flight came in literally like 30 minutes before the time that I had to be at the hospital. So he had dropped me off and went to go pick up my mom. I checked in and everything, was not feeling good. I was obviously hungry, which was giving me a migraine because I hadn't eaten in so long, and I was not having it. So after they checked me in and everything, they ended up having me sit in a waiting room for probably, I would say, a good 2 hours, which anyone that has like nerves and anxiety knows that that's the worst situation to be in when you're just waiting for something to happen. The longer you draw it out, the worse it gets. So I was in there for 2 hours, and it was a hospital, so of course it was freezing cold, which just made it seem worse. But then they called me back, and when they called me back, it kind of seemed like everything happened in a rush, and it did because the doctor that was doing my surgery had actually finished early, so she was getting ready to go, and they had to hurry up and get me ready and everything all kind of at the last second. So what they did was, after I did the urine sample to check to make sure that I wasn't pregnant, I knew that I had to have a blood test beforehand before they would actually put me to sleep, because there was a test that I had to have done before they put me to sleep, and I knew that I was going to have this blood test done a couple weeks before, and this is probably the biggest reason why I was so nervous on the day of the surgery, because every time that I give blood I pass out, and it's not because that I hate needles. Well, I do hate needles, but that's not the part that gets me. It's not like I get, I'm like super weird about pain and the needle hurts me and that's why I pass out. It's nothing like that. It's literally when I give blood, I can feel them taking the blood from my body, and I just can't take it, and my body shuts down and I pass out. Every single time it's happened to me since I was probably like 12 years old, I have passed out when I give blood. And they knew this, and they had me laying down at this point, so I was really nervous for that. But anyway, after they did the urine sample, I had to change my clothes, put the robe on, and by this point my mom was there already. My mom got there. I was super excited to see her, and I hadn't seen her in over a year, so that was kind of, already made me feel a little bit better and more relaxed. But the nurse had given me these cloth things to wipe myself down with, and they were really hot, and they kind of stung my skin. But he gave me 4, and I had to wipe down like everything, my arms, my chest, my stomach, my back, all the way down to my legs. I had to wipe down everything. My mom had to help me out with that. And then you put the robe on, and then they had me put on like compression socks. So they came almost all the way up to my knees, and they were super tight, which is making me uncomfortable. And then I had to put these silly looking yellow socks on top of those, which I looked like a clown. I will probably post pictures in the video so that you all can see. But anyway, so after that, after I had gotten changed and wiped down, I was really, really nervous at this point because I knew they were getting ready to take the blood. And I am not like a sucker for pain. I'm telling you, I have dealt with pain my entire life, and I think that I have a pretty high pain tolerance, but the thought of giving blood terrified me because I hadn't done a blood test in probably about 2 years or more. So I was really, really, really nervous. And it got to the point where I was laying in my bed, and my mom and my boyfriend were next to me, and the nurse came up and told me, okay, I'm gonna do the blood test and everything, and I let him know, okay, well, every time I give blood I pass out. And he goes, oh, it's okay, me too. And that actually really made me laugh. That made me feel better. And I was smiling, and he liked that. But so they put the needle in, and of course he had a hard time finding my vein the first time that he put the needle in, so he kind of had to take it out a couple of times and re-put it back in. And at that point I started crying, not because it hurt, because it didn't really hurt, it's just I was sitting there wanting to get it over with, and it felt like it was taking forever for him to even get the vein. So I had started crying because I was really scared, and I just don't like doing that. And my mom was holding my hand, and I could see that she was upset because I was crying, because I don't cry for like just anything. I don't think my mom has seen me cry in years. So for her to see me cry like that, I think she knew it was scary for me. So he took the blood, and they did the blood test and the urine test. Everything came back good as it was supposed to. So my doctor came in and talked to my mom and told me everything that they were going to do. And she had told me that there were 3 things that could happen when they do the surgery. And the first thing is they can go in, and not find anything at all, not find any endometriosis, which is, I mean, I guess good, because then you don't have the disease, because it is an autoimmune disease. So it's good if you don't find anything. But in my instance, I was like hoping and praying that they did find something, because that would be a reason behind all this pain that I've been having for years. And if they find it, they can take it out. And if they can take it out, that will more than likely help, if not get rid of, the majority of the symptoms that I had been having. So the second thing that they would have is that they go in and they find a little bit of endometriosis here and there that they can take out from the incisions that they had made. And then the third thing that they said could happen would be is if they go in the small incisions and they find so much that they can only take out some of it within this surgery, and then they would actually have to go back and do another surgery to cut me open even more and pull all of it out. So at that point, the anesthesiologist came in. I don't even know if I said that right, but you get what I'm saying. Came in and gave me the medicine that makes me, you know, super sleepy. And I remember them rolling me on my bed down to the surgery room. And I remember starting to fall asleep as I had gotten in the operating room, but I was still somewhat awake, and they were trying to move me from my bed over to like another table, I guess. And because I was like mid falling asleep but still somewhat awake, the nurse was talking to me, and I was talking back like I was totally awake. But then she was like, okay, you know, we're gonna try and move you, so, you know, see if you can lift your shoulder, because they wanted to get me up to like a certain point. And she was like, okay, see if you can scoot over a little bit. And the last thing that I remember hearing after that was the nurses freaking out, being like, oh my god, she's about to fall off the table. Because apparently they didn't realize that I was almost about to be completely out. So yeah, I almost fell off the table. But then, you know, after that, the next thing that I knew, I was awake. And I remember them rolling my bed through, and my nurse, you know, saying my name, trying to get me to wake up. And I remember the first thing that I said was, did they find anything? Did they find anything? Please tell me if they found anything. And the nurse was like, well, I don't know what they found, and they're going to tell your mom about it, because the doctor doesn't want to tell you about it right now since you're not going to remember. So the second thing that I remember asking was like, where's my mom? I want to talk to my mom, because I want to know if they found anything, because this was going to be like life-changing for me. That's what most people don't understand, is that the pain that I was having was so bad. I literally wanted to die. Like I mean, I am a driven person. I have goals and I have dreams like nobody's business, and I've always been one to chase those dreams, but this pain was so bad that I literally couldn't even breathe sometimes, because the movement of my stomach from breathing hurt. It was just horrible. So the nurse had said, okay, we're going to take you into, you know, the waiting room, and your family's going to come in and they'll talk to you and all that. So I remember too, the first thing that I felt when I woke up was really sharp pain here, like under my collarbones on both sides, which is apparently normal because of like the gas that they put in your stomach to like open your body up. It moves up to your shoulders and under your collarbones, and it was really bad. It honestly felt like someone had like a knife or something like pressure underneath my collarbone, and it was just like sitting there. But so I got into the waiting room, and my mom came in, and I just remember my mom coming in the room, smiling, and coming over and grabbing my hand to hold my hand. And I was like, did they find anything? Did they tell you? Because they didn't tell me if they found anything, and I want to know. My mom came over to me and held my hand and literally started crying. And she goes, they found 2 growths of endometriosis that were each the size of a $50. And my mom told me that the surgeon said to her that she thought this was going to seriously change my life, like improve my life, and that it was gonna give me significant relief. So my mom was crying just even telling me that, and I was just over the moon ecstatic. Like it was a huge deal for me. It's something I thought that I would never hear in my life, and I was super excited about it. So after that, I had to sit there, for a while, and they got to make sure that you're fully awake, and then they need you to go to the bathroom, because I actually had a cystoscopy done after they did the surgery to test me for, there's another problem that I had going on that they wanted to test me for at the same time. So they needed me to go to the restroom to see if I could urinate on my own, or if I would need to go home with a catheter, which I was not looking forward to, but I was able to, so that was fine. And then they gave me some ice for my throat, because when they put you to sleep when you have a surgery, they put a tube down your throat with oxygen, I think, and the guy that did it actually scraped the back of my throat to where, like, right about here on the inside, there was a piece of my skin that was, like, flapping, and it was really, really irritating, and it hurt, and it was not fun. So they gave me ice because my throat was hurting from that. And then I still had the pain under my shoulders really bad. And, but they eventually, after I would say maybe like an hour and a half after I woke up, they told me that I could go home. So went home, picked up my pain medicine, came straight home with my mom. And I was honestly scared to look at my stomach, because I was thinking, like, the thought of my stomach actually being cut open, it terrified me. So when I got home, I looked at it, and I had, and I'll probably put pictures in the video too for the cuts, just so you guys can see. They cut me once on the inside of my belly button on the bottom, and then they cut me once on the left side, and then 2 times on the right side, because they had told me that on my right side, that's where they found more endometriosis, and they had to actually go in a little bit deeper to pull it out. So the top one on my right side was definitely, I could feel that they had gone in further with that one, and that incision probably hurt the most. And they stitched it. They stitched it on the inside, and then they put bandages over it, so I couldn't actually see the incisions until after the bandages fell off. And I was able to shower after a day, which was good. But the recovery, I mean, I wasn't able to do a lot for a while. Like, I couldn't squat down. I couldn't sit up in bed. Like, every time that I had to get up in bed, I had to call my mom and tell her to come help me, or have my boyfriend help me and literally pull my arms up, because I couldn't sit up on my own in the bed. And sometimes I couldn't even, if I was sitting on the couch, I couldn't even stand up on my own. I would have to have someone come and pull me up, for fear of, like, busting through my stitches, and then it was uncomfortable. And I didn't want to test myself there and see how far, see how much I could do. But one thing that I did that was not a good idea, and I would not suggest this to anyone, the night that you have your surgery, definitely don't watch anything that's going to make you laugh, because I hadn't seen my mom in so long, and me and my mom have this thing for screaming goats. And I'm sure if you're watching this, you've probably heard of or seen the screaming goats, and they're hilarious. Well, we put the YouTube video on the TV of the screaming goats, and it was a horrible mistake, because I was laughing so hard I was crying, and then I just made myself hurt even worse in my stomach, so that wasn't a good thing. But I mean, the only real difficulty that I had after, like, through the recovery was probably laying down to go to sleep hurt me. I don't know why, but every time that I would lay on my back or my side, I would get the pain in my cuts, like even if I had the pain medicine already. And I could not turn on my own. So if I laid down on my back or my side, I was stuck in that position until someone could come over and move me or help me get up. So that was not fun. But other than that, I mean, I didn't really have any pain afterwards. Like, I mean, I was taking the pain medicine every 8 hours for probably about a week and a half. But I didn't really have any pain, like on, you know, on the inside or on the incisions itself. I mean, I felt pretty good. Like, I was excited from the results, and I thought, like, this is going to be a whole new life for me. This is going to be like a complete, you know, new start. And I was excited. So I did not feel bad at all. Like, the recovery was really good. I mean, even the surgery itself, you know, I didn't really experience any pain from it at all. Just nerves, because I was nervous about it from the beginning. But it wasn't really bad. And I mean, I was really worried, but I don't think, you know, I've had a couple of people messaging me that are gonna have the surgery themselves, you know, asking like how bad it is, and it's really, I mean, I thought it was gonna be a lot worse than it was. So, I mean, it's really not bad, the surgery itself and the recovery time. I was out of work for probably, I think I was out of work for like 2 to 3 weeks, because of my job. I work at Disney, and we have to a lot of times move wheelchairs or strollers or push the big ECVs, which are like the scooters, and I'm not supposed to push or lift anything, you know, for a while after you have the surgery. But I mean, I feel great. Like, I thought, you know, the overall experience was pretty well. I am super, super, super happy with the results. And I mean, immediately after my surgery, I was like, I felt like there had been pressure that was like gone from my stomach. I mean, I felt different. Like, I could immediately tell a difference, and I was so happy, and I'm still so happy. I mean, I'm still like trying to get used to it because I haven't had the pain, which has been just crazy and completely life-changing, because I never thought something like this would happen. I never thought that they were going to find something and then be able to fix it or take it out. I mean, I had been told my entire life that, okay, you have something that we can't find, so you're just going to have to deal with it because we can't treat it. And to have something like this, you know, where they actually found something, is probably one of the best things that's ever happened to me, if not the best thing that's ever happened to me. So, I mean, I feel pretty good. My wounds have completely healed. They healed fine. The only really issue that I had was there was plastic from the stitches was actually starting to stick out of some of my incisions. So I had called my doctor, and they told me to just trim it, like to cut it with scissors, and then it'll eventually just fall off, like when the scabs come off. But my scabs have all completely come off. They came off about a month after I had my surgery, and you know, the stitches aren't sticking out anymore. I've been able to go like in the pool now, because you can't obviously go swimming or submerge yourself in water after you have the surgery for a while. But I mean, I feel really good. I feel pretty good. So I mean, for anybody that's been worried about it, you know, definitely don't worry about it, because it's not a big deal. For me, I gained more than I lost from it, because I mean, it was totally worth it. Even the nerves and everything, it was just amazing, to be honest. So but yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. That was the whole experience. I'm going back I have a couple of follow-ups that I have to go to, because endometriosis can grow back. As long as you still have your uterus, endometriosis can grow back. It's not guaranteed that it's going to, but it's a possibility. So they have to they want to keep checking me to see, you know, to make sure that my symptoms are completely gone and that I'm not having any other pain or anything like that. So, but other than that, I mean, I've been feeling really good. So I think that's pretty much everything that anyone had asked me. If anyone has any questions about anything or wants to talk to me about it, you can comment, you can message me. I know people have my Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, all that. I'll post links for all of that as well. But yeah, I mean, I hope that that was everything that everyone wanted to hear about my experience. It was definitely a good one. So thanks for watching.